with hell.
Depression, a biological disorder. Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today, we're diving into a topic that affects millions around the world, depression. It's a complex issue that intertwines both biology and psychology, and we're here to break it all down for you in a way that's easy to understand. Let's start by setting the stage. Imagine a bustling university filled with high-achieving individuals. You might think everyone is thriving, but the reality is that major depression lurks around us, often hidden beneath the surface. The stigma surrounding mental health makes it hard for people to admit they're struggling, even though it's just as real as any physical illness. Now, let's talk about the biology of depression. It's crucial to understand that depression is not just a passing feeling, it's a serious biological disorder. Research shows that approximately 15% of people will experience major depression at some point in their lives. The World Health Organization predicts that by 2025, depression will be the second leading cause of disability worldwide. At the heart of depression are neurotransmitters, chemical messengers in the brain. Key players include serotonin, norepinephrine, and dopamine. When these neurotransmitters are out of balance, it can lead to symptoms like anhedonia, which is the inability to feel pleasure, and psychomotor retardation, where simple tasks feel overwhelmingly exhausting. Imagine waking up in the morning, feeling utterly drained, and unable to muster the energy to even get out of bed. This is a common experience for those battling severe depression. It's not just about feeling sad. It's about a profound sense of fatigue that can make everyday tasks feel impossible. Now, let's shift gears and look at the psychological side, starting with Sigmund Freud. Freud distinguished between two states, mourning and melancholia. Mourning is a natural response to loss, where you eventually heal. In contrast, melancholia is when someone gets stuck in their feelings of grief, unable to move past their mixed emotions toward a lost loved one. Freud famously said, "Depression is aggression turned inward." This means that unresolved feelings can lead to self-directed anger and guilt. Psychological stressors play a significant role in depression as well. Factors like feeling helpless, lacking control, and not having support can exacerbate feelings of despair. This is where the concept of learned helplessness comes into play. It's the idea that after experiencing uncontrollable negative events, a person learns to feel helpless and believes they cannot change their situation, leading to a cycle of depression. So, what are some common symptoms of depression? They can include persistent sadness or low mood, loss of interest in activities once enjoyed, changes in appetite or weight, sleep disturbances, like early morning awakening, fatigue or loss of energy, feelings of worthlessness or excessive guilt. It's essential to remember that depression is treatable. Whether through therapy, medication, or support from loved ones, there are pathways to recovery. Just as we wouldn't tell a diabetic to pull themselves together about their insulin, we need to approach depression with the same understanding and compassion. In conclusion, understanding depression requires a holistic view that incorporates both biological and psychological perspectives. It's not merely a state of mind, it's a complex interplay of genetics, brain chemistry, and life experiences. Next, let's explore brain anatomy and its connection to mental health, specifically depression. Whether you're a student or just curious about how our brains work, this video is for you. Let's break down some key parts of the brain that are crucial to understanding depression, all while keeping it light and engaging. So, grab your notebooks, and let's get started. First up, let's talk about the triune brain concept. This model, developed in the 1940s, divides the brain into three main parts: the reptilian brain, the limbic system, and the cortex. Starting at the bottom, we have the reptilian brain. This is the oldest part of our brain, responsible for basic survival functions like regulating blood pressure and glucose levels. Think of it as the plumbing of our brain, keeping everything running smoothly without us even having to think about it. Next, we move up to the limbic system. This is where things get interesting. The limbic system is all about emotions, fear, anger, love, you name it. It's much more developed in mammals compared to reptiles, which is why we have such rich emotional lives. This part of the brain communicates with the reptilian brain, helping us respond to threats and emotional stimuli. Finally, we have the cortex, the most advanced part of our brain. This is where higher order thinking happens, planning, reasoning, and even creativity. It's what helps us differentiate between a Beethoven symphony and punk rock. The cortex plays a crucial role in how we process emotions and can amplify feelings of sadness or anxiety. Now that we've covered the basic structure, let's talk about the chemical messengers in our brain known as neurotransmitters. These little guys are vital for communication between neurons. There are several key neurotransmitters involved in depression. 1. Serotonin, often referred to as the feel-good neurotransmitter. Serotonin helps regulate mood, appetite, and sleep. Low levels of serotonin are commonly linked to feelings of sadness and depression. 2. Dopamine. This neurotransmitter is associated with pleasure and reward. When we experience something enjoyable, dopamine levels rise. In depression, the absence of dopamine can lead to anhedonia, which is the inability to feel pleasure. 3. Norepinephrine. This one is crucial for our stress response. It helps regulate alertness and arousal. In depression, low norepinephrine levels can contribute to fatigue and psychomotor retardation, making even simple tasks feel exhausting. Interestingly, these neurotransmitters don't work in isolation. They interact with each other, creating a complex web of chemical signals that influence our mood and behavior. Now let's touch on hormones, which also play a significant role in depression. One important hormone is thyroid hormone. It helps regulate metabolism and energy levels. When someone is hypothyroid, meaning their body doesn't produce enough thyroid hormone, they can experience symptoms of depression. In fact, about 20% of major depression cases may be linked to undiagnosed thyroid issues. Another factor is that women are diagnosed with depression at nearly twice the rate of men. Hormonal fluctuations, particularly during menstrual cycles, pregnancy, and menopause, can significantly impact mood and mental health. Finally, let's discuss some symptoms of depression that are tied to brain anatomy. One of these is psychomotor retardation, which refers to a slowing down of thought and physical movement. It can make even the simplest tasks feel overwhelming. This is where the limbic system's communication with the rest of the brain becomes crucial. When emotions are out of balance, it can lead to this debilitating state. Also, remember that the cortex can amplify negative thoughts, making them feel as real as physical pain. This is why understanding the brain's structure and function is so important. It helps us recognize that depression is not just a state of mind, it's a complex interplay of biology and emotion. Next, let's look into the hormones and their connection to mental health, specifically depression. Hormones play a crucial role in how our bodies function, and understanding them can help us grasp the complexities of conditions like depression. So, let's break it down together. First up, we have glucocorticoids. These are stress hormones produced by our adrenal glands, and the most well-known one is cortisol. When we experience stress, our bodies release cortisol to help us manage that stress. However, in people with depression, cortisol levels can be significantly elevated. This tells us that there's a biological response happening. Our bodies are in a constant state of stress. Now, why is this important? Well, research shows that prolonged exposure to high levels of cortisol can increase the risk of developing depression. It's like your body is on high alert all the time, which can lead to emotional and physical exhaustion. Next, let's talk about thyroid hormones. These hormones are essential for regulating our metabolism, energy levels, and even our mood. A condition called hypothyroidism, where the body doesn't produce enough thyroid hormone, can lead to symptoms of depression. In fact, studies suggest that about 20% of major depressive cases might actually be undiagnosed thyroid issues. So, keeping an eye on thyroid health is crucial. And here's an interesting fact. When individuals with hypothyroidism receive proper thyroid hormone treatment, many of them see their depressive symptoms improve. It's a clear example of how interconnected our body systems are. Moving on, let's discuss estrogen and progesterone, two hormones that play a significant role in women's health. Women are statistically more likely to experience depression and hormonal fluctuations during events like menstruation, pregnancy, and menopause can contribute to this. For instance, after giving birth, many women experience what's known as postpartum depression, which is linked to rapid changes in these hormones. The balance between estrogen and progesterone can affect neurotransmitter systems in the brain, influencing mood and emotional regulation. Next up is adrenaline and norepinephrine, both of which are released during stress. Adrenaline is often associated with the fight or flight response, while norepinephrine helps regulate arousal and alertness. In some cases, a deficiency in norepinephrine can contribute to feelings of anhedonia, or the inability to feel pleasure, which is a common symptom of depression. It's fascinating how these hormones work together. For example, when someone is under stress, their body releases adrenaline, which prepares them to react quickly. However, if this stress response is chronic, it can lead to an imbalance in norepinephrine levels, further complicating mood disorders. Finally, let's touch on substance P. This neurotransmitter is primarily associated with pain signaling in the body. Interestingly, research has shown that reducing substance P levels can sometimes alleviate depressive symptoms. This suggests that the experience of emotional pain might share some biological pathways with physical pain. So, to wrap it all up, hormones like glucocorticoids, thyroid hormones, estrogen, progesterone, adrenaline, norepinephrine, and substance P all play vital roles in our mental health. They interact in complex ways, influencing our mood and emotional well-being. Understanding these connections can help us better address conditions like depression. Thank you for joining us today. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more content, and remember, you're not alone in this. Until next time, take care.
PharmaPal.